Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present my journal. This is a review journal task from our best lecturer, Mr. Ramadan Tosefu. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let's start. My journal is about exploring taboo food among diagnosed of Ngaju women in Central Kalimantan Province in Indonesia. This journal from Mr. Suyitno, Linda Suwarni, Hasma Rawati, Muhammad Sadli, and Agnesia Clarissa. They are from Polytechnic Medica Pharma Husada Mataram in Indonesia. Let's start. About background, Dayak Ngaju is one of sub-ethnic group of the Dayak tribe in Central Kalimantan, Indonesia. If we see the picture, this is the Dayak Ngaju. This group practices cultural practices as an identity, including the food taboo. About a food taboo, humans require food on a daily basis, but it also serves as a symbol of actualization. Food services a symbol of signification associated with ease. As a result, people use food from cultural traditional. Then the food is also serve as a symbol of actualization. The impact of food taboo practices is diverse. Women are a group of people impacted by the food taboo, which has affected their health. For example, they have a higher risk of being anemic because avoiding some kind of food. Additionally, if pregnant women are subject to dietary taboo behavior, the baby will also be affected. A high likelihood of low birth weight, early birth, growth restriction, and mortality exists in newborn due to the practices of the food taboo of their mother. And then the objective, this study aimed to explore the food taboo practice among women of Ngaju diagnosis living in Central Province. The method, the objective is uh, next. The method, this study is a qualitative descriptive was employed. There are 11 informants were included, consisting of 3 pregnant and 2 breastfeeding women as the main informant, 5 relatives of each woman, a midwife, and an ethnic leader. The in-depth interview was done in the study of Karsamulya village, Sukamara district, Central Kalimantan province. Content analysis was used for data analysis. The participants in this study were selected by using a snowball sampling strategy. Snowball is also known as the Kane referral sampling method. It was start to choose initial participants based on the specific criteria relevant to the topic. After these participants were interviewed or observed, they were asked to provide referrals to other individuals who meet the desired characteristic or have relevant experience. The initial person who was contacted was the midwife in the village. Based on her referral, the next informant were the next informant the next informant were uh, pregnant and breastfeeding woman. Then the relative of each woman could be selected based on the woman's recommendation. The inclusion criteria for selecting the sample were thus originally from the Dayak Ngaju tribe in Kertamulia village, being able to communicate in the local and national language, and finishing the in-depth interview for Alsatian. Then the exclusion criteria where those who were selected by previous informant but could not be able to communicate. There are five women, consist of the three pregnant women and two breastfeeding women. Moreover, each woman needs to recommend one relative who could give information about food taboo practices. Beside the midwife, the tribe leader was also interviewed to explain cultural practice in the village. About the data were collected in June 2000, 2000 to, to 2023 by using in-depth interview. In-depth interview, document reviews, and media reviews were all used in the study qualitative methodology. Before interview, researchers introduced themselves, then objective of the study, and the reason why the study was engaging. The interview guiding has been piloted to three Dayak peoples in Sukamara village, Sukamara district, Central Kalimantan province, where the characteristics of village are similar. The interview guide questions included the type of food that was categorized as taboo, what circumstances people practice taboo, how those kinds of food were classified as taboo, and their reference food that is recommended to be consumed for women, especially pregnant and breastfeeding women. The data collection was done by following the interview guidelines, but it was developed based on the information given by respondents to get deeper and broader information. Next, this is relationship relationship between woman and relative relatives relationship between woman and relatives. Partitionment type, relative P1, relationship with woman, mother-in-law in participant P1. Relative P2, biological mother of participant P2. Relative P3 is sister-in-law of participant P3. Relative B1 is husband of participant B1. And the last, relative B2 is husband of participant B2. How about the result? In this result, all of the women were reproductive age. Types of foods and dishes are categorized as taboo food include unripe, pineapple, durian, cempedak, jackfruit, gurami, cat pies or lele, puffer pies or buntal, walago or tapa, snakehead pies, rendang, marble gobi or bakut, forest snakehead fish or jujung, shark, catfish or patin, lupagor or gambas, bamboo shoot, stinky beans or cengkol, and soda. The food taboo for breastfeeding mother was not described in detail. And then the conclusion is there was no reason to accept the scientific aspect of avoiding those food rationally and restricting for the consumption of food during pregnancy and breastfeeding may have the risk of being anemic. Further study can include the anemia assessment to examine the impact of food taboo practices and anemia. Stakeholders at the village level can collaborate to decrease the negative health impact of taboo food in practice. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.